I definitely am very afraid of going into any hospital in Canada. It's actually better to have father to die peacefully and so not to do any rescue of thing. And obviously like a no monitoring, like a no telemetry, these kinds of things are actually just unexcusable. And this is what we have currently here. It's not just like a staff shortage or whatever thing, but the whole system is like flawed and, if I can put it, corrupt. The unaccountability of the hospital. Basically, if they make a mistake, they don't need to. Not allowing people to choose is actually human right denied. Otherwise, everyone's life is like being threatened and in danger, real danger. I have approached to some politicians, and the politicians just keep silence, getting us to go back to the hospital. After 2 to 3 weeks, they actually didn't give us anything, like a complete silence.
Kenny Yu, son of late Peter Yu. Peter Yu, Kenny's father, Peter Yu, he died in North York General Hospital in September 2025. What happened? So, Kenny, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Kenny, right now you are in which country, which place?
Currently, I in New York, the States. Yeah.
And by profession, what you do, Kenny?
I actually work as a software developer in a bank.
We are really sorry that you lost your father. What happened? What happened and where in Canada? Which place? Your father. We heard that your father died in North York General Hospital. What happened? Can you walk us through?
Okay, sure. So I think like my father was experiencing a shortness of breath in like September and some cramp in his leg as well. So like as per like a family doctor's advice, well actually also some like a low pressure blood pressure thing. And so per our doctor's family doctor's advice, my mother took him to the hospital. While there, the medical staff like documented that he had the early cardiac tamponade physiology, which we didn't know that until like we found out in the chat. But like in the medical world, this is a known life-threatening emergency that requires immediate intervention and constant monitoring. But instead, putting him on a telemetry or some like in ICU, the attending medical team just at the hospital just put him in a regular ward. He was assigned to an RPN. RPN is actually a title of a nurse who actually had got no experience to the like cardiac patients, which is actually against the protocol. And for 72 straight hours, he was left completely unmonitored by any machines. No heart monitor, no oxygen, no proper vital checks for three
So,
days.
so Kenny, you're saying that for 72 hours your father was without any attendant, without any nurse, without any oxygen. That what you mean to say?
I would just say I have to say so occasionally they have some nurse. So like the nurse will like just take some like a blood work and measure the heart monitor measure the heart blood pressure and then go away. So like every once in every 6 hours or 7 hours. But the last time that they checked my father was like in like 7 p.m. last night, and my father would die in like 12 was we actually don't know when exactly he died, because like in the next morning another nurse came and said he was cold. So like I think this is entirely well, because like as a cardiac patient, you actually should have a telemetry, right? Like a monitoring, keeping monitoring it like every second you should see the heart is pumping. But like every several hours is definitely not the protocol should suggest, I believe.
Which hospital this happened?
North York General Hospital.
Did you ever reach to the North York General Hospital? Did they made any statement on this?
Uh, did I reach to, you mean after that?
Yes.
So like we definitely have like well, because we were told that we need to have our patient experience to like handle our case first. And so we actually have approached them, and then like after they say they would reply give us a response like in a 2 to 3 weeks time. But then after 2 to 3 weeks they actually didn't give us anything, like a complete silence. And then we follow up on them. We asked them our questions. I actually also posted our questions, which was our very plain questions on the internet. well, you can see on the internet, but I actually showed that to them. But instead of giving us any written response, they just said, well, let's have a meeting, which I would think that is just a closed door meeting because well, basically just you and I here in the meeting, and there is no other one who can like well, we can invite some friends, of course, but there is no document, no black and white, no records. So I feel like it's actually I mean, trying to force us to accept something and then prepare a script so to just make us come back down or whatever, back down. So I refused, and then I think you have already also aware that I have approached to some politicians, and the politicians just keep silence, getting us to go back to the hospital, and that's why I have the a petition here, because I feel like, well, if there is institutional silence for the 4 months, and I cannot even have it brought into the media just cannot care less for some very strange reason. Only Cantonese media would care for me. So I feel if I don't voice out, it's a danger to the Toronto area because everyone is going to use the hospital. Every other patients in the GTA is going to be in the danger.
Kenny, there is a disclaimer here because
Mm,
we are hearing your story because that's shocking that your father passed away. He was a cardiac patient,
mm,
and you are raising the concerns, you are raising the questions. And
mm.
disclaimer is we have not reached out to the hospital about their statement, but you already did your part to reaching out to them to know. And you are raising the questions that the proper monitoring of your father for 72 hours was not done by the hospital because he was a cardiac patient and all the situation had to be monitored very carefully.
Yep.
And now you started this petition. What this petition says and what is the meaning of this petition which you started now?
I think the petition actually says that of course there is something that is done so obviously wrong, and the hospital is actually self-investigating it, and the authority is also the politicians are going, I mean, are trying to I don't know, very obvious in inaction, because when you see, I'm actually reaching out to the riding MPP Stancho. He actually refused to help. Basically, he just said, there is nothing we can do, and just happy to go back to hospital. And I also find that and hopefully to let everyone knows that um, in Canada, or maybe just in Ontario, I don't know yet. I mean, I'm not in a position to raise whether it's a provincial or whatever's fault, but it looks to me that, it appears to me, more and more real that it is very next to impossible to seek a lawyer or to have some legal helps in Canada or in Ontario, because I don't know whether you have heard of the CMPA. CMPA is a authority, well, basically a fund which is actually funded by the taxpayers to, subsidize and defense the doctors so relentlessly that, well, they can actually hire 17 to 20 lawyers to just defend one doctor. I'm told in the documentary by W5. I actually didn't know that either, and not a lot of Canadians know that as well. So whenever I try to approach to a law firm, they just very honestly told me, well, due to economic invisibility, we are sorry that we cannot help you or something like this. So this is something that I also want to bring everyone's attention that, well, we need a real change. Otherwise, everyone's life is being threatened and in danger, real danger.
Kenny, you are sharing your experience, what happened with your family, with your father. You are sharing that experience. We don't know whether what the statement by the hospital, like, are they doing any investigation? Because in the previous past, we had seen the people died in emergency waiting for a long time. That happened in Alberta, in Ontario also.
Yes.
Why you are reaching out to media? What are your concerns? What do you want to highlight in this scenario?
I believe the only very uh I mean everyone needs to know, and had I known that, I wouldn't take my father to that hospital and be died. I mean, be killed. Sorry, I shouldn't say this word, but like be harmed there. Like if I make it more safely, be harmed there. But like because now that I know even more, I need to let everyone know so that because now I'm obliged to tell others so that nobody will be harmed because I didn't say anything. I mean, this is as I believe my father would want me to do that as well. Like let everyone know that like we are actually having a safety a crisis here.
Do,
That
do,
so that everyone needs
do
to
you
be
have the
prevented.
evidences to justify your accusations or your allegations against the system, against the hospital? Do you have the evidences?
Yep, I have put up the like a medical chats. Like I mean, some of them like redacted the names. I put them in the Google Drive so that they can actually browse it. Uh, I also, like my mother had got a video capture which shows he didn't have a telemetry at all, which I also uploaded that. And there is only TV news which I also uploaded there. So all in Google Drive.
How you compare the healthcare system in Canada and in US, because presently you are a resident in the United States. How you compare this healthcare system?
Obviously, I cannot say I know very well about the US. Of course, I mean, I haven't really used their hospital. I have used their like a clinic and other like a specialist care. But I feel like it's very differently that it's very different that I can always approach to a like a specialist whenever I need to, whenever I want to, and I can choose to have which specialist to have care for me. I mean, if I don't like him, I can change it very easily. And I think this is something that I want to raise. I know this might be a pride of Canadian, like a Canadian healthcare, universal healthcare is a right as claimed by our PM county, but I want to say this is actually not allowing people to choose. It's actually human right denied, and I find it's ridiculous, especially when I actually have. I mean, we actually have paid a lot of tax. My father is going to have their pensions, his pensions as well, and he just suddenly died, and the hospital just walk away and harming others every day since then without a response. And all yeah, basically I it makes us not only feel like we are afraid of going into the hospital in Canada, we are feeling like the government seems like hate us,
So,
sadly.
Kenny, seems that after the loss of your father, you are not happy with the healthcare system in Canada, or few hospitals you are not. Whole of the system need to be reset. What is your views on that?
I definitely am very afraid of going into any hospital in Canada. I mean, hospital, they don't, well, if they don't have accountability, like they can do anything they want, they feel like they are God, then there is no reason, no incentive for them to have any real change. I mean, you might have a goodwill thinking, oh, the doctors might be just being too busy or whatever. But I feel like there's one piece which is missing for many, many long decades long, which everyone else have like lost the focus, which is actually the unaccountability of the hospital. Basically, if they make a mistake, they don't need to be put responsible, and then well they don't feel like they need to change, and then there will not be any change. And I feel like I mean, I'm told that Canada hospital system has been like stuck in like maybe like 90s or some other even earlier like a technology level or the professional protocol
But
level,
Kenny,
whatever.
Kenny, you said that accountability is missing for the hospitals, but in Alberta, the Premier Danielle Smith, she started the investigation
Hmm.
after the death in the emergency. So
Hmm.
she ordered an investigation, proper investigation, thorough investigation in
Hmm.
the case of emergency death. So to make hospitals accountable. And so, are you saying that Ontario should also investigate the hospitals' negligence part, if there any, or what you want to say?
I think the like accountability here currently missing is because like we I mean, the formal procedure that we are only allowed is to file of our case to the CPSO, and the CPSO is actually a party owned by the doctor, like basically doctor investigating doctor. And currently, like today, I actually got a response from the CPSO. CPSO said, well, by legal requirement, they are not required to show the doctor's response to me. Like they would just show to the committee, and the committee would determine whether he is wrong or not. Basically, it's not a procedural fairness from what I understand, which I will definitely like try to like consult a lawyer, but like I feel that it is systematically trying to make all the patients or all the sufferers to not to file the complaint at all, or may basically make them very difficult. So I think this is to avoid them from being held accountable. And this is what we have currently here. It's not just like a staff shortage or whatever thing, but the whole system is like flawed and, if I can put it, corrupt.
So you said you are scared to go to any Canadian hospital now?
Yes.
Kenny, normally doctors, they are the lifesavers. They are considered to be gods because they save the lives. And in your father's case, it's very shocking, very saddening that happened. But since he was a cardiac patient, it might be possible that hospital and doctors, they did their best to save him, but because of some unavoidable circumstances or the scenarios at present on that situation, because family is always shocked when they lose their family member, but on the other side, doctors or hospitals might try their best in that scenario to save your dad's life. Don't you think that?
Well, I mean, if it is really the case, then they should have answered us. I actually have, I mean, placed all the questions thing, and obviously, like a no monitoring, like a no telemetry, these kinds of things are actually just unexcusable. And also that, yeah, basically, I just have, yeah, but yeah, basically, like they should actually be answering our question. And there's one thing, like some of the doctors actually replied me in the like X. I actually also replied him like publicly, like of course not disclosing his name, but he feels like, oh, actually the doctors try their best. And then, well, it's actually better. I mean, I'm quoting the doctor. It's actually better to have father to die peacefully, and so not to do any rescue of thing. And I feel like, well, you are actually taking away our own choice. My father didn't know that. My mother didn't know that. I didn't know that either. Like this is something that the family should have known this and then sit together and discuss this. And I feel like they have taken away our like I mean our rights to live or to be known, right?
Kenny, thank you very much for sharing your experience with the hospital and sharing your dad's story, what happened, and our condolences are with the family. We wish you best wishes in your journey because you are asking for some justice, and we wish you all the best.
Thanks for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.